With Mother's Day fast approaching, I've got a special gift I want to make for my wife. I grabbed this old hutch for free and I want to do some magic with it. First things first, got to get all these doors off. I also want to get it all cleaned out, and I used an air blower. As you can see, it is really dirty and really dusty. I also need to make sure all the surfaces are clean because we're going to prime and paint. Also, I need to get all of the hardware off of the doors. I don't need those anymore, but the hinges I do need and I will save for later. Next thing, I need to get some primer on all of the wood parts. I'm going to put them on the shelves and on the side and inside of the hutch. A good primer is what is needed to keep the paint from sticking and keep it from peeling. When you get the primer on, you want it to set for a good 24 hours. Now I'm going to go to a good cabinet paint and put it jet black. I love this color. It does take a couple of coats, sometimes 3, because it's going to give you a nice smooth finish. Once that's drying, I'm going to hit those hinges with some gold paint, make them look really nice. The next step, I'm going to grab some pre-primed shiplap and I'm going to start cutting that because it's going to go into the back of my hutch. I'm going to cut as many pieces as I need. Once I get those ready, I need to paint them. Again, it's going to take 2 coats of some nice white cabinet paint. I'm going to paint all of these shiplap pieces, making sure I also get the sides. Then I'm going to use some glue because I want to fasten it to the back of the hutch. This glue is really strong, but I also, what you don't see here is I use a staple gun to put it in place. Once I get all of these pieces on, it's time to put the shelves back in. These again look really nice and really smooth. Back to the doors, I'm going to put some hardware on there. I grabbed these gold pieces and they look really good against the black. Then I found some glass that I'm going to use to fill in the doors with. I want to give them a fluted look. So I grabbed some liner that I ordered off Amazon and I cut them to size. These fluted pieces are really good and you just roll them out and again, trim them as you need. You're also going to peel the backs off of them. Now, when you pull the backs off, they actually don't stick just like that. Look at that. It just comes right off. What you have to do is take a spray bottle and spray it with some nice clean water. And you're going to do this also to the back side of the fluted sheet. Spread that over, take it, smooth it out, and then you're going to use a little squeegee and you're going to start squeegeeing the water out between the two of them. This allows the fluted sheet to stick to the glass. You can also use plexiglass if you want, but the glass is nice and clear and gives it a great look. Once I get it squeegeed out, I'm going to take a razor blade and I'm going to trim off the sides, all 4 sides. Once that's trimmed up, it's time to put the glass panels into the doors, and then I use these little hooks that I got that squeeze together and put them on. Now that I got it, look at how amazing this looks. Let's take that hutch inside, put the doors on, and look at this. It absolutely looks amazing. I know my wife's going to love it. And what I love the most about it is those fluted doors. They look awesome. I hope this inspired you to take an old hutch or any type of furniture and recycle as you need.
Still using one of these? After a long day, the last thing I want is to fumble with my keys at the door. That used to be my daily routine until I upgraded to the LOCKIN Veno Pro, the world's first palm vein smart lock. Now, I just raise my hand and I'm in. No keys, no app, no hassle. It took us only 15 minutes to switch over the locks. Then all that's left is to download the free app and unroll our palms with just one motion. It's incredibly secure too, using subdermal vein data that's nearly impossible to replicate. And then there's LOCKIN AI, the only smart lock with built-in motion and package detection, no extra hub or monthly fees. The LOCKIN Cam gives me a full 180-degree head-to-toe view in 2K. Even in the dark. No blind spots, no missed deliveries, no compromises. And thanks to P2P encryption, no one else sees the footage. It even recognizes people and packages in seconds with local AI processing, so no cloud, no delays, and full privacy. Unlike fingerprint locks, this works even if your hands are wet or dirty, and it's certified with 99.9% accuracy. With LOCKIN's high-efficiency solar panel, I get daily recharges, even on cloudy days, and the battery lasts for months on its own. It's safe, simple, and smart for the whole family. Thanks to LOCKIN for partnering with us on this video.
If you are in the market for a couple of side tables or nightstands, consider an old vintage vanity instead. First up, I need to take it apart. I'm removing all the drawers, then studying how the vanity is built. Since this vanity is nailed together, I'm wedging a pry bar between the backboard and vanity, then hitting it with a rubber mallet to pull the boards apart. Now I'm checking where all the nails and joins are and removing whatever nails I can with a nail remover tool. However, for the most part, the crowbars, lots of pounding, and finally pulling apart the pieces by hand did the trick. Now I'm removing all the knobs from the drawers and attaching the original screws into the back so they don't get lost. I'm placing all the drawers onto some butcher paper with the varnished sides facing up along with the vanity. To strip off the varnish, I'm using a product called QCS by Stripwell, which is a non-toxic remover. I'm spraying the remover on all the varnished tops of the vanity and drawer tops, then allowing the product to sit for about 10 minutes. Using a putty knife, I'm scraping off the varnish. Most of the pieces needed 2 passes for everything. Now using a surface cleanser, I'm spraying it wherever the varnish was removed, then wiping the furniture clean with a rag. Next up is repairing the sides. Using an orbital sander, I'm sanding over the damaged areas of the nightstands, plus also scuff sanding the rest of the sides to prepare them for the next step. I'm using a putty knife to apply wood filler to smooth out any indents, nooks, and crannies. Some of the holes were very deep, so they required 2 coats with drying time in between. After several days of drying time, I'm sanding the putty smooth, then following up with an orbital sander to areas that needed a little extra work. Now I'm removing all the sanding dust using a tack cloth. Choosing a deep and beautiful paint color called Cast Iron by Fusion Mineral Paint, I'm painting all the small trim work with a smaller artist's brush. Since the sides are smooth and large, I'm choosing to paint them using a high-quality Stahlmeister velour roller I pick up through Fusion Mineral Paint to achieve a flawless finish with no brush strokes. I'm rolling on the paint with long, even strokes with an attempt to always work against a wet paint edge. What works best is to roll on all the paint, then slowly roll over it again from end to end with no stops in between to achieve the smoothest finish possible. To paint the drawer pulls, I'm using the screws to hold the knobs while I paint, then setting them down on egg cartons to dry. Now that the paint has set, I'm removing the painter's tape to allow the piece to completely dry. To protect the fronts of the drawers and the tops of the nightstands, I'm using Stain and Finishing Oil in Natural by Fusion Mineral Paint. This is a very easy wipe-on, wipe-off product to work with, and the durability it offers is floor quality. I'm brushing on the Stain and Finishing Oil until my chosen surface is completely covered, allowing it to sit for a few minutes, then wiping the product back off again with a clean lint-free rag. I allow this product to dry overnight. Once the paint has cured for about 30 days, I'll also be adding a coat of natural Stain and Finishing Oil on that as well for added furniture durability. And the final result are 2 absolutely stunning high-quality nightstands or side tables that are customized to suit my home. The tone of wood now looks so fresh and rich and feels as smooth as silk, which really pops against the decadent deep tone of cast iron, making this a gorgeous and timeless combination.
I saw this dresser on Facebook Marketplace and I knew I could bring it back to life. So I brought it home, set it on some cardboard, and it's time to get to work. First step, take out the top 3 drawers. I don't need those. I want an open space concept, but I'm going to keep the bottom 2, but then I need to remove the hardware from the 3 drawers and get that cleaned up for shelves. I also want to save the handles. Instead of buying new handles, why don't I just refinish those also? I'm going to take them off, even if I'm not going to use them all, and I'm going to paint them. First step though is to get them on a piece of cardboard so I can spray them, and also it's best to use 2 to 3 small coats instead of 1 thick one because then it won't run. Next, after that's drying, it's time to clean up the drawers and the cabinet itself, and I need to put on some primer. This is important. Primer gives the paint something to adhere to. That way the paint doesn't peel off later. I'm going to take the drawers, put on a nice coat of paint with the foam roller, and then I'm also going to do it to the cabinet itself, on the inside and the outside. While that's drying, it's time to build the 3 shelves that I need. So I had some scrap plywood hanging around the house, and I cut those up. The plywood was a little thick for my taste, but it's going to work great. Once I get the shelves installed, then I'm going to go ahead and paint the cabinet itself and use a nice white cabinet paint. 2 or 3 coats will do the job. But when it comes to the drawer, I'm going to use a gray cabinet paint. I want it to stand out and give it a 2-tone a little bit. So I'm going to get that painted also. This one only took 2 coats. Now here's the key to this whole project. I'm going to build some new doors for the cabinet itself. Using a 1x3, I'm going to cut those to pieces right there, make 2 of them, and put them together. I'm also going to mark where I'm going to join the pieces. I'm going to use my nifty Craig jig. I love this tool. It's great. I can drill it and it's going to give me some hidden screws when I use it. Watch this. After it's drilled, that's where the screws go. Gives it a nice professional look. I'm going to put some glue on the edges, put those together, and I can either clamp them, but watch this. When I put them together, put some screws in there, and then I join them together with those screws. You can also stick some wood dowels in there to hide the pieces. Now these doors are also going to get the gray paint, so I'm going to get those painted. Once they're dry, on the back side of these doors, I'm going to put some chicken wire. I'm going to use my pneumatic stapler to put them together. Once I do that, I can put it all the way around, and it's going to look really good, but we want to make sure that it is secured. I'm going to go all the way around the edges and make sure it's nice and tight. Now I'm going to take the handle that I painted and I'm going to install that right there. And it's starting to look really good. The same for the drawers. Doesn't that look a lot better how it's all painted? I'm going to get this installed, make sure it's nice and tight, and then I got to put the hinges on the doors. These are just small 1.5 inch size hinges. They're working perfect. Put those in. Take the cabinet inside, and then I'm going to install the doors straight on there. Do you remember what that cabinet used to look like? Well, here it is, and look at that cotton bale. I love that little decor right there. It's great to turn this into a farmhouse kitchen pantry. I love how it turned out, especially with the white and the gray. I hope this inspired you to upcycle your own furniture whenever you get a chance, or take those marketplace flips and make them into a work of art. Thanks for watching Home Talk, and we'll catch you next time.